Have you ever asked yourself how you can break free from limitations and live without self-sabotage? You're in the right place. At the end of this talk, you're gonna have tools and techniques to overcome these limitations and overcome the self-sabotage. My name is Joakim. I'm a breakthrough coach. I help people and empower them to get the very best out of themselves. And with me today, I have the coach and the guide, a very special human being that I invited once back here on the show. So help me welcome Olga.
Woo woo! Hello, everybody. Hello, beautiful people. And hello, Joachim. Thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. I'm also very happy to be here with you. And yes, my name is Olga Goralewicz. I'm a coach, I'm a guide. I'm helping others. I'm helping you to connect with your innate inner and outer wisdom. So, wisdom of your body, wisdom of your heart, with wisdom of your higher self, of your higher mind, so you can step out and be and act from your full potential and not out of your blocks. Be free and be happy in life. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, I've been able to experience some of your work, so I can testify to that. And today, let's dive into to help you who listen in. How can you break free from limitations? How can you overcome self-sabotage? We all have that inner critic, the voice that sees the doubt, that sees the fear, that says we aren't good enough. And also when we go out there and we take one step at a time, we put ourselves out in the world, it's so easy to focus on what went wrong, what we didn't do good enough, and we let that inner critic voice scream loud at ourselves, and it's like we're beating ourselves up mentally. I have that voice, and I'm sure Olga can relate too. Can you?
Oh, yes, I know that voice, probably as we all do very, very well. Um, it's been with me for whole my life, as long as I remember. And it's always there, a little voice. Sometimes it's louder, sometimes it's more quiet, but of course. So it's just like managing and balancing between this voice and the other one.
Yeah, I like that because it's all about how long do you stay with that voice? How long are you allowing that voice to shut up? Because it's always going to be there. And I also hear the biggest speakers, they also talk about that they can have doubt. Like if they're gonna show up at some place, like, will people come and listen to me? But, and it could
Yeah.
just be like, did did I do the best I can for my kids? Did I do the best I can for my clients? So yeah, what is your best tip for silencing that inner critic so that we can focus on and really celebrating our milestones? Maybe I preempted one thing that I'm gonna bring up there, but Olga, what would you say?
Oh, I'm so curious about your about your methods and techniques now. But yes, so there are many of them. But for me and what I saw with for my clients, the best way is to just acknowledge that voice, to see it, and to interrupt uh, that voice. Sometimes we need to go a little bit deeper because it is something meaningful. It is something that we need to dig deeper to see the cause, the root cause. But sometimes it's just a noise. It's just a background. It's just like at this. I remember Russ Harris was calling this like a radio gloom and doom. So it's just a voice that is in constant background somewhere in our heads. So when we notice that, just change it. Just the noticing part is very important. So when you are in your observer place, you can just change it. You can observe it and change it, and constantly observing it and changing it to something else and act. So to seal that deal, the action is needed to move forward and to teach your brain like a puppy, to teach your brain to um, to get out of this and move forward and do something that is really meaningful for you.
I'm
Yeah,
so glad
that's
that
in
you,
short.
yeah. And I'm so glad you mentioned this thing at the end here with you get to train your brain, because that's what I found as well. It is a mental
Mm,
muscle that we actually get to practice and train. Something you said
mm.
initially where I would like, okay, I would like to explore this when you say we just stop it, or like we just interrupt it, we just silence it. And it might sound so simple. And that's the thing, when you actually get to practice, and that's the thing. So be aware, be present in the moment. I found this to be very powerful. Be present in the moment so you can be aware of the thoughts, of the voices, of the emotions going on. And that you, when you catch that negative self-talk going on, that you celebrate yourself. You appreciate
Oh,
yourself for catching yourself, because
that's huge.
it's like we always gonna have thoughts. So that, yes, so being able to be grateful for the ability to catch ourselves, because that's the thing, that we celebrate every milestone all the way. I found that to be massively helpful in terms of overcoming that negative self-talk.
That's huge. That's very beautiful. And I learned that really recently in my life, to celebrate, mm, to really consciously and intentionally take some time, even in your mental space, and take some time and really celebrate it, and really be proud of yourself, and really show yourself love and respect and gratefulness, and be thankful that you did it. You did it. That's your time to shine. And of course, because if there's going to be a lot of it, it's going to be quicker, easier, and the reward's going to be more rewarding. So yes,
Yeah.
that's so beautiful you mentioned that.
Yes. And also along that journey, as we celebrate ourselves, we acknowledge ourselves, being present, having that ability, because again, it's about celebrating every milestone on the journey. I found so much
Yeah.
calmness, so much peace, and so much relief, and also looking for the gift or the blessing or the lesson in what I'm going through. And again, that might seem very difficult in the moment, because life is like a roller coaster. It's ups and downs. How can you know what happiness is if you're never sad? So having this variety of emotions is part of being human. So, and we can only connect the dots looking backwards. However, when we reflect backwards, finding that gift, finding the lesson, finding that blessing in what we're going through, it's giving me so much relief and calmness and peace. How can you relate to that, Olga? Or have you seen anything similar?
Oh yes. Yeah. And what I love to mention is that, because it is very connected with what you just said, is that it's not all about balancing and be somewhere in the middle, in a like a, let's call it, neutral space. It's about going higher, about experiencing joy, not only to be okay, but go even the step further. So that's why the celebration, that's why the higher emotions, that's why um, the love, the joy, the emotions that you just said, because we need to, in order to feel them, we really need to put some time to really acknowledge and feel them, because they're not gonna just appear out of nowhere in our lives, especially if we are in a lower place. So
So what are you saying
cultivating
here?
them,
Yeah,
yeah.
so what you're really saying is that, what are you saying? Is it that being happy or being that excited, that is a choice we gotta make, and we gotta create those emotions from within? Is that what you were saying here?
Yeah, and just put some time to really kind of nurture them, kind of be with them, kind of, oh, say, wow, I'm like enjoying that joy, like really put some water, like if it was a plant, just nurture it, like take care of it, because otherwise it's not just going to show up for us. Sometimes, of course, externally, but as you say, we need, like, our job is to build that emotions within ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. If you want more high energy things in your life, like excitement, like joy, I found it to be a great idea to be the role model and show up that way, to be responsible and bring those emotions into your world because it's gonna attract that back to you. And who doesn't like to hang around people who are joyful, excited? So one thing that can often
Oh
get in the
yeah,
way, yeah. So one thing I often find that can get in the way to bring us back to where we start with, like that inner critic that can scream at us when things doesn't go the way we want things to go and seats it down, says we aren't good enough and say we aren't worthy.
yeah,
Is that one thing that can often get in the way is that we have a tendency to make things global. What that means is, let's say I would be going to a party. I want to be happy, excited. I have an interaction with someone, and it doesn't like I wasn't able to build that connection. What could happen is that then the critic could say, you're not good at building connections at all. And we're like, you're never gonna like make friends at this party. But is that really true? Like it was only like one interaction that didn't go the way I wanted, or like that didn't turn out to be, yeah, there weren't any good connection, but it's only that one interaction. It doesn't have it doesn't mean that every other interaction is gonna go the wrong way. So the thing is, avoid making it global. It's something I learned from one of my mentors and sources of inspiration, Blair Singer.
yeah, beautiful. And I just heard a little bit of Joe Dispenza event today, and he said yes, something very similar, but like in other way. So it's a event that is upsetting you, but then you're kind of ruminating on that event because something happened and you feel and you're like kind of feeling this emotional home. So like more and more negative emotions are coming, then it becomes a mood if it stays with you, and then it becomes your personality. So that is really so these like we need to really be aware of what is really happening, because sometimes just one event, just like you mentioned, really silly one, can drag us down, and then our surrounding as well. So yes,
It's so profound,
that's
Olga, because
huge.
because every decision, every choice we make, and that is also a choice to stay in a certain mood, is a vote on the person we are about to become. It's like what you're doing today
Mm,
will shape who you become tomorrow. So do you decide to stay with the anger, stay with the regret, stay with the sadness, or do you make a conscious decision of showing up as a different person who's gonna create a life that you really want? That's all about being
mm,
responsible, showing up, taking that responsibility.
mm. Yeah, responsible for yourself. And it's sometimes hard. We all have, I mean, not all, but many of us have these childhood wounds that are not covered, that are not healed, and that's why it's hard for us to take the responsibility. That's the only uh, that's the only thing that keep us down, because if we would take that responsibility, we would accelerate our growth immediately. But yeah, sometimes it's just hard because of the trauma. But
It
yes,
is
this
true.
is all something we not need to, but we can, and we can deal with. There's so many things we can do, many therapies and many different, yeah, things
Yeah.
we can do with that.
That's so true, Olga. There's so much past conditioning that can get in the way, and that is where the inner critic can scream so loud at
Mm,
us because it's these patterns. So as we talked about being present with oneself, having a look at what are the thoughts, what are the feelings, what are the voices that goes on in our head, in our body, so we can be aware first and foremost, and then make conscious decisions of doing something different. Olga, is there something else you would like to add here before we wrap it up? Let's do like a summary of what have we shared, how can we overcome these limitations and overcome the self-sabotage? Is there anything else to add there before we wrap this up?
uh There's one more thing I just wanted to add for you guys, that there's this beautiful path that Katie Byron created this, and it contains like 4 questions. Maybe I can send it to Joakim and he can write it down somewhere. It's just so if you feel like there's something stuck in your head, for example, there was this experience, there was this event or something, and you've experienced something that got you down, you ask yourself these 4 questions and it can change the whole and shift your whole perspective. It's really beautiful, and yeah, it's fairly
virtual
easy.
drum roll, virtual
Yeah.
drum roll, here they come. Olga, what's the first one?
The question?
Yes, we can't leave it hanging. Come on.
Oh my gosh. Oh, okay. I thought you're just gonna put it in the notes. Okay. So the first one is, actually, you've asked this question: is it true?
Okay, the first question, yeah. So of the 4 questions, is this really true? And I like you brought it up because that's what I found as well to work. Like I shared with that, if you go into a party, to social interaction, and something doesn't work out, and then a critic starts screaming like, "You will not make friends with anyone." Is that really true?
Yeah. And the
What's the
second
next
one is
one?
actually, is that really true? The second one. So because sometimes our mind is, yeah, that's true. I cannot make friends. And then the second one is that really true? So
Hmm.
you're kind of, oh, is that really? Maybe there was, maybe I made this one friend somewhere when I was back in school. You kind of start to remember some past experiences that actually are opposite to this one. So then your pattern is interrupted and you think, okay, so it's not globally true. It's not globally true for me. So then, yeah, so that's the second one. And the third one was, how do you act when 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 you feel that way? Or, well, I would need to, if this is the right
Here's where that
phrasing.
cheat.
But but the main key is, how do you act when you, I think, or maybe when you believe that thought? That would be, yeah. So how do you act when you believe that thought? So
Yeah, how do you
yeah,
react when you believe that thought? And the last one, how would you be without that thought?
yeah, I can see that right now. How would you be without that thought? Yes. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, that can be so profound. And these are tools that you can take with you to help yourself practicing being present with your thoughts, with your emotions, with the voices. Take these tools with you to practice that awareness. And again, it's a mental muscle that you get to train. Again, we can only connect the dots looking backwards. So appreciate yourself for being able to catch yourself with the thoughts. Might not happen in a second, the first time, or the first month, or the first weeks. But when you are able to become present of what's going on, the step in the right direction. So that's one thing we've been talking about, that celebration, so that we can have that, find that peace and the calmness in this journey, and find a blessing and a gift in what we're going through, and avoid making it global. Any final point from you, Olga? And while we're summarizing this,
Mm, yeah, I believe in you guys. And don't ever let your limitations put you in a box and not going to get your full potential, and not believing in yourself, and not act on yourself, and not chase your dreams. So yes, yeah. So thank you, and I believe in you guys.
Thank you for coming back on, Olga, and so that we can pick each our brains and bringing this out to the world. Thanks for coming on. It was great having you back, Olga.
Yeah,
If
thank
you
you
found this
so much.
great, if you found this valuable, hit the subscribe, and you can find Olga on Instagram. You can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn if you're there, and we're looking forward to hear from you how this is working. What's your biggest takeaway? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear from you so we can
Yes,
support and
please.
guide you.
Thank you. Yes.
Great. Make yourself a great rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.